Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. Israel accuses Iran of firing missile armed with cluster bombs, vows to retaliate. Trump faced US involvement in conflict to make decision within 2 weeks. Amid escalating West Asia tensions, European powers to hold nuclear talks with Iran in Geneva to press for a diplomatic solution over Tehran's nuclear program. Russia and Ukraine exchange another batch of prisoners under an agreement struck in Istanbul. Moscow rejects Ukrainian call for an unconditional ceasefire at the talks. Erick makes landfall as Category 3 hurricane, the strongest to hit Mexico so early in the year, brings life-threatening flooding and mudslides, leaves a trail of damage. And in sports, it's baptism with fire for Shubman Gill as he starts captaincy of the Indian cricket team in England. First test starts in Leeds today as India seek to find form without Virat and Rohit. A very good morning to all the viewers joining us at this morning broadcast. To begin with the latest. Another day of attacks, counter-attacks and bombarding continued between Iran and Israel. Weeks-old conflict seems to be escalating, with each passing day having no sign yet of an exit strategy from either of the side. Israel attacked Iranian Special Forces headquarters of the internal security apparatus in Tehran and bombed nuclear targets. Now, Israel military strikes hit Iran's Kondab heavy water research reactor, a project under construction that had not begun operating, and damaged the nearby plant that makes heavy water. Earlier, Israel said it had struck Iran's Natanz and Isfahan nuclear sites. It also targeted the partially built Arak heavy water research reactor, also known as Kondab, in the central Iran. Well, it was in response to Iran firing missiles and drones at Israel. It accused Iran of deliberately targeting civilians in the hospital attack by using a missile that scattered smaller bombs over a wider area. Well, it was the first reported use of cluster munitions in the 7-day-old conflict. One of the small munitions struck a home in central Israel town, causing some damage. Cluster bombs are controversial because they indiscriminately scatter submunitions, some of which can fail to explode and kill or injure long after a conflict ends. Iranian strikes also damaged the Soroka Medical Center in Israel's southern city of Beersheba. Now, amid the conflict, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Thursday that the change or fall of the Iranian regime was not a goal of Israel's military campaign, but could occur as a result.
Our primary objective is to stop the nuclear program and remove it as a threat. The second goal is to halt the advancement of ballistic capabilities, also to remove it as a threat. In the process, it's clear the regime is destabilizing. We are also hitting government-related targets and centers of power. But the matter of regime change is, first and foremost, up to the Iranian people. There is no shortcut to that. Therefore, I have not set it as an official or declared goal. It may be a result, but it is not an explicit objective of our operation.
US President Donald Trump has kept the world guessing on his plans, veering from proposing a swift diplomatic solution to suggesting the US might join the fighting on Israel's side, but that may take 2 weeks to decide. Citing a message from Donald Trump, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt informed the reporters about Trump's plan.
In light of that news, I have a message directly from the President, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks."
Leavitt also said that Trump was interested in pursuing a diplomatic solution with Iran, but his top priority was ensuring that Iran could not obtain a nuclear weapon. She said US officials remained convinced that Iran had never been closer to obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Let's be very clear. Iran has all that it needs to achieve a nuclear weapon. All they need is a decision from the supreme leader to do that. And it would take a couple of weeks to complete the production of that weapon, which would, of course, pose an existential threat not just to Israel, but to the United States and to the entire world. And that is something that the entire world, including countries like Russia, is in agreement with, that Iran should not and cannot obtain a nuclear weapon.
The foreign ministers of Britain, France and Germany, known as the E3, will meet with the European Union's top diplomat Kaja Kallas at Germany's permanent mission in Geneva. Now, France, Germany, Britain and the European Union were all signatories of the 2015 nuclear agreement with Iran that Trump sunk during his first term in the office. The European Union's Kallas, in coordination with European countries, has insisted that diplomacy remains the best path towards ensuring that Iran does not develop a nuclear bomb. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi would also join these talks on his country's nuclear program with the counterparts. UN nuclear watchdog chief Rafael Grossi on Thursday identified Isfahan, home to one of Iran's biggest nuclear facilities, as the location of uranium enrichment plant. The IAEA has previously reported that Israeli military strikes on Friday damaged 4 buildings at Isfahan, including the uranium conversion facility that transforms yellow cake uranium into the uranium hexafluoride feedstock for centrifuges so that it can be enriched. IAEA said that had it gone online, the new enrichment plant would have been the 4th in operation in Iran. But Israel's attacks on Iranian nuclear facilities destroyed one of those plants and put another out of action by killing its power supply. Earlier, Iran announced it had built a new uranium enrichment facility which would soon equip and bring online. The announcement was part of its retaliation against a resolution passed by the International Atomic Energy Agency's 35-nation Board of Governors declaring Tehran in breach of its non-proliferation obligations over issues including its failure to credibly explain uranium traces found at undeclared sites. Well, the head of Russia's Nuclear Energy Corporation has warned that an Israeli attack on Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant could exceed all known nuclear accidents in the history of mankind. Bushehr is Iran's only operating nuclear power plant and was built by Russia.
There are no hits anywhere in the area of the station, and especially not to the site itself. And we very much hope that the Israeli leadership will maintain a sober, balanced position in this regard, because any strike on an operating gigawatt-class facility and the capacity of the first block of the operating Bushehr reactor is 1,000 megawatts is a catastrophe comparable to, or perhaps even surpassing, all known nuclear accidents in the history of mankind.
While tensions are escalating rapidly in the West Asia amid the ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel. In response, countries around the world are moving swiftly to evacuate their citizens from the region. From New Delhi to Lisbon, governments are mounting large-scale operations to bring their nationals back home. Here's a comprehensive look at the global evacuation efforts. Take a look. India has launched Operation Sindhu to evacuate its citizens from Iran amid growing hostilities. 110 students were flown from Armenia's capital to New Delhi on the first evacuation flight. An estimated 10,000 Indians are currently in Iran. Efforts are also underway to bring back Indian nationals from Israel. There are more than 30,000 Indians in Israel. China has successfully evacuated over 1,600 citizens from Iran, with additional evacuations from Israel ongoing. The Chinese Foreign Ministry confirmed that several thousand nationals remain in the region, with further operations planned as the situation develops. The United States is utilizing both air and sea routes to evacuate its nationals from Israel. US Ambassador stated that flights and cruise ship departures are being arranged with embassy teams assisting the Americans who wish to leave. Germany has conducted multiple evacuation flights from Jordan. On Wednesday, 171 people were flown out of Amman, followed by another 174 on Thursday. Officials confirmed additional flights are scheduled for the weekend. A final group of 65 Polish citizens arrived in Warsaw on Thursday, marking the completion of Poland's evacuation mission from Iran. In Lisbon, Portugal welcomed evacuees at the airport. A repatriation flight carried not only Portuguese citizens but also German, Israel, Czech, Spanish, Austrian, Bulgarian, Argentine, and Ukrainian nationals, highlighting a coordinated multinational effort. France is organizing a ground convoy to transport its citizens from Iran to neighboring Turkey or Armenia. Buses will begin operating from Israel's Jordanian border on Friday with a chartered flight. With the conflict continuing to unfold, countries are racing against time to secure the safety of their citizens. Governments remain on high alert, closely monitoring the situation as evacuation effort expands. Sarita Chaudhary's report, DD India. Ukraine and Russia exchanged prisoners of war on Thursday. Officials from both the countries confirmed the latest round of swaps under an agreement struck in Istanbul. During the talks, the first direct negotiations between the sides in 3 years, both the countries agreed to free more than 1,000 prisoners of war from each of the side, all wounded, ill, or under the age of 25. Russia's defense ministry confirmed the exchange, posting pictures of soldiers draped in Russian flags, cheering and waving. Zelensky posted similar photos of freed Ukrainian soldiers, crying, smiling, and calling the loved ones after being swapped. In Istanbul, Moscow and Kyiv also reached a deal to repatriate more than 6,000 dead Ukrainian soldiers, with several stages of the handover carried out in recent weeks. While Moscow has rejected Ukrainian calls for an unconditional ceasefire at the talks, demanding instead that Kyiv cede more territory and renounce Western military support as a precondition for peace. Well, Denmark will continue supporting Ukraine's preparations for the European Union membership despite Hungary blocking negotiations. The Nordic country's European Affairs Minister said Denmark would do everything it can to help Ukraine continue with necessary reform work. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has firmly opposed supplying NATO military support and European Union aid to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukraine has already begun the required reforms and is prepared to accelerate the negotiation process. Additionally, Denmark will also seek to reach an agreement among the European Union nations on the bloc's Plan 2040 climate goals.
Og så handler sikkerhed også om udvidelse med nye medlemslande. Fordi vi har brug for et mere stabilt Europa og et Europa med en stærkere geopolitisk vægt. Og derfor vil vi prioritere fremskridt på forhandlingerne med særligt Ukraine, som kæmper for vores frihed. Men vi vil også prioritere forhandlingerne med Moldova og de andre kandidatlande på Vestbalkan.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Canada is set to introduce new tariff measures to counter global overcapacity and unfair trade. US President Donald Trump gives social media platform TikTok another 90 days of extension. British lawmakers could take a major step towards legalizing euthanasia on Friday.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
That's exactly what you save your country.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Well, Canada is set to introduce new tariff measures to counter global overcapacity and unfair trade in steel and aluminium. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced this on Thursday. Now, this follows US President Donald Trump's decision to double the tariffs on imported steel and aluminium to 50%, a move that could significantly impact Canada, which is the largest exporter of these metals to the US. Calling the US move destabilizing, Carney said Canada will impose tariff rate quotas equal to 2024 import levels on steel from countries without free trade agreements, aiming to protect its domestic market. He also revealed plans to adjust existing counter tariffs on the US metal products starting the 21st of July. Carney and Donald Trump have agreed to finalize a new economic and security agreement within 30 days.
Canada will adjust its existing counter tariffs on U.S. steel and aluminum products on the 21st of July, at the end of that 30-day period, in other words. We're going to adjust them to levels consistent with the progress that's made at that point on the broader trading arrangements with the United States. Secondly, we will implement reciprocal procurement rules, ensuring that only Canadian producers and producers from trading partners that provide Canada with tariff-free reciprocal access through trade agreements can compete for federal government procurement of steel and aluminum.
A U.S. appeals court let Donald Trump retain control over California's National Guard while the state's Democratic governor proceeds with a lawsuit challenging the legality of Republican president's use of the troops to quell protests and unrest in Los Angeles. A three-judge panel of the San Francisco-based 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals extended a pause it placed on the U.S. District Judge Charles Prayer's 12th of June ruling that Trump had called the National Guard into federal service unlawfully. Now, Prayer's ruling was issued in a lawsuit against Trump's action brought by Governor Gavin Newsom. Meanwhile, Trump took to the Truth social media platform following the ruling, calling it a big victory and a great decision. The president on the 7th of June took control of California's National Guard and deployed 4,000 troops against the wishes of Newsom. He also ordered 700 U.S. Marines to the city after sending in the National Guard. Judge Breyer has not yet ruled on the legality of Marine Corps mobilization. US President Donald Trump had given social media platform TikTok another 90 days to find a non-Chinese buyer or be banned in the United States. Trump on Thursday announced on his social media platform a deal for the sale of TikTok in the US by ByteDance must now be reached by the 17th of September. Responding to the deadline extension, short video app TikTok said in a statement, and I quote them, "We are grateful for President Trump's leadership and support in ensuring that TikTok continues to be available," unquote. Now, this marks the third such extension by President since taking his office. Japan's Coast Guard will simulate a collision between vessels on Friday during joint exercises with the United States and the Philippines, seen as a show of unity against Chinese activity in disputed regional waters. Well, it is the second time the country's Coast Guards have held training drills together following their first joint maritime exercise in the Philippines in 2023. Tensions between China and other claimants to parts of the East and South China Seas have driven Japan to deepen the ties with the Philippines and the United States in recent years. The three nations expressed strong opposition to any attempts by the PRC to unilaterally change the status quo by force or coercion in East China Sea. Moving on, a Kenyan court sentenced two men to 30 years in prison on Thursday for assisting the 2019 Al-Shabaab attack in Nairobi that killed 21 people. Hussein Mohammed and Mohammed Abdi Ali were convicted in May on the charges of facilitation and conspiracy to commit an act of terrorism for helping the Al-Qaeda-affiliated terrorist group Al-Shabaab. Abdul and Abdi have 14 days to appeal their sentences. Delivering her ruling, Judge Diana stated that the attack might not have occurred without the two men's involvement. They had pleaded not guilty. In January 2019 attack, gunmen stormed Nairobi's Dusit complex, leading to 12 hours of siege. The Kenyan government later announced all the attackers were killed. Now, the Mexican authorities announced the discovery of a secret tunnel linking Mexico and the United States amid U.S. pressure to combat cross-border drug trafficking, especially fentanyl. The Secretariat of Security and Citizen Protection said the tunnel was 13.5 meters deep and approximately 600 meters long, connecting Santiago from the border city of Tijuana. Inside the site, there was also a package containing methamphetamine and various items for transporting objects. Now, Mexican cartels have long used narco tunnels to smuggle drugs, migrants and goods, with some featuring advanced systems like ventilation, lighting and fax. Meanwhile, the authorities also discovered a clandestine mini refinery in the eastern state of Veracruz. Along the 500,000 barrels of crude oil, they suspect they were stolen from the country's pipelines. On social media platform X, Security Minister Omar Garcia stated that the officials uncovered an unauthorized facility manufacturing diesel, solvents and fuel oils without permits, endangering the environment. The government is cracking down on crude oil theft and illegal imports known as hookah coal, a practice that generates substantial losses for state energy company Pemex and the government. The authorities linked organized crime and Pemex employees to the illegal fuel trade and uncovered 500,000 litres of crude oil with related production equipment fueling the illicit market. British lawmakers could take a major step towards legalizing euthanasia on Friday when they hold a knife-edge vote on whether to allow assisted dying for terminally ill people. MPs will either progress the legislation to the House of the Lords, upper chamber for further scrutiny, or end it entirely following several hours of impassioned debate. The terminally third adult end-of-life bill would allow assisted suicide in England and Wales for adults with an incurable illness who have a life expectancy of fewer than 6 months. They would have to be able to administer themselves the life-ending substance, and any patients wish to die would have to be signed off by 2 doctors and a panel of experts. A change in the law would see Britain emulate several other countries in Europe and elsewhere that allows some of assisted dying. Now, in a latest series of setbacks for billionaire Elon Musk's Mars rocket program, SpaceX's massive Starship spacecraft exploded into a dramatic fireball during testing in Texas late on Wednesday. The company attributed it to a major anomaly and said all personnel were safe. Its engineering teams were investigating the incident, and it was coordinating with local, state and federal agencies regarding environmental and safety impacts. The Starship rocket appeared to experience at least 2 explosions in quick succession, lighting up the night sky and sending debris flying, according to video capturing the moment it exploded. In the month of January, a Starship rocket broke up in space minutes after launching from Texas, raining debris over Caribbean islands and causing minor damage to a car in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Well, India has achieved an all-time high in the QS World University rankings, with 54 institutions featured in the 2026 list, a significant rise from 46 in 2025 and 45 in 2024. With this, India has become the 4th most represented nation globally, following the United States, United Kingdom and China.
A record 54 Indian institutes have been featured in the QS World University Rankings, with the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Delhi, emerging as the country's top-ranked institute. Prime Minister Narendra Modi took to the social media and praised India's education sector. In a post on X, he said, "Our government is committed to furthering research and innovation ecosystems for the benefit of India's youth." IIT Delhi's global ranking has seen a significant jump from 150th position to the current 123rd rank in the latest edition of the Higher Education Institutions rankings across the world. This is the highest QS World University ranking achieved by the institute.
In a period of over last 6 decades, IIT Delhi has more than 64,000 alumni working in different parts of India as well as different parts of the world. And they have contributed enormously to research, technology development, solution to societal problems, industry. And their contributions also to startups, unicorns has helped the institute to establish a strong academic reputation, which has contributed significantly to the QS ranking of this year.
This is another historic moment for India because we've seen a 390% growth in India compared to the last 10 years, which is definitely kudos to the Narendra Modi government, which is positioning India as a global leader. And one of the global leaders is IIT Delhi, which has improved its position by over 70 places in the last 2 years, which is, of course, due to its improvement of employer reputation and the citation indicator.
IIT Bombay, although down from its all-time high rank of 118 last year, continues to feature in the global top 130, securing 129th position. IIT Madras recorded a remarkable jump, moving up 47 spots to secure the 180th rank, entering the top global 200 list for the first time. Other top-performing Indian institutes include IIT Kharagpur at 215th position, Indian Institute of Science Bangalore at 219 and IIT Kanpur at 222. Among non-IITs, University of Delhi stood at 328th position and Anna University at 465 featured in the top 500. In a social media post, Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said that from just 11 universities in 2014 to 54 in the latest rankings, this five-fold jump is a testament to the transformative educational reforms ushered in under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. He added that the National Education Policy 2020 is not just changing India's educational landscape, it is revolutionizing it. The minister also highlighted that it is a matter of immense pride that India is also the fastest growing education system among the G20 countries and the fourth most represented country behind only the US, the UK, and China. US-based Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, has topped the World University Rankings 2026, followed by London's Imperial College at the second position. California's Stanford University ranks third, and UK's Oxford University is at the fourth position. Quack Corelli Simons is a global higher education consulting firm. The rankings released by QS assessed over 1,500 universities across 106 locations, making this edition the most comprehensive to date. Bureau Report, DD India.
Time to take a short break with still to come on the other side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be on a three-state visit for 2 days from Friday. Launch of multiple development projects in Bihar and Odisha on the plan. Up next, we'll get you all the latest weather updates from across the country and the world.
There is something in Jharkhand for everyone. Welcome to a feast of experiences for your body and soul.
I've carried a memory of this place in me from my childhood.
From old world charms to new age excitement. From spectacular natural wonders to warm, friendly people.
Thank you.
Tune into nature with dense forests and wildlife.
कान मिला रहे ना, ये नॉर्मल है. जैसे ये कान खड़े कर लेंगे, एग्रेसिव हो जाएंगे, पूंछ सीधा कर लेंगे तो
Make magnificent memories as you leave a piece of your heart in Jharkhand. Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now to quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. Israel accuses Iran of firing missiles armed with cluster bombs, vows to retaliate. Trump faced US involvement in conflict to make decision within 2 weeks. Amid escalating West Asia tensions, European powers to hold nuclear talks with Iran in Geneva to press for a diplomatic solution over Tehran's nuclear program. Russia and Ukraine exchange another batch of prisoners under an agreement struck in Istanbul. Moscow rejects Ukrainian calls for an unconditional ceasefire at the talks. Erick makes landfall as Category 3 hurricane, the strongest to hit Mexico so early in the year, brings life-threatening flooding and mudslides, leaves a trail of damage. And it's baptism with fire for Shubman Gill as he starts captaincy for the Indian cricket team in England. First test starts in Leeds today as India seek to find form without Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. Indian President Draupadi Murmu inaugurated Rashtrapati Niketan at Rajpur Road in Uttarakhand in the presence of Governor Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh and Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. The Rashtra Niketan and Rashtrapati Tapovan will be open for public viewing from the 24th of June this year. The President visited the National Institute for Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities. The visit highlighted the Government of India's commitment to inclusive development and the empowerment of persons with visual impairments. During his visit, the President interacted with students, reviewed facilities and emphasized the importance of accessibility and equal opportunities for all. In the same evening, the President will release a postage stamp on Raj Bhavan, Nainital, on the completion of its 125 years. The President will also be visiting Uttarakhand till the 21st of June, where she will participate in a mass yoga demonstration at Uttarakhand State Police Line Maidan in Dehradun on International Yoga Day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on a 3-state visit for 2 days from Friday, a tour that will include the launch of multiple development projects in Bihar and Odisha and his participation in a mass yoga program on International Day of Yoga from Visakhapatnam. Our next report tells you about the details of what Prime Minister Modi is going to do during his visit to the state of Bihar and Odisha starting today.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting the eastern Indian states of Bihar, Odisha on Friday. The Prime Minister's first stop will be Bihar, where he will lay the foundation stone and inaugurate multiple development projects in Siwan around noon. The projects are expected to give a major boost to infrastructure and socio-economic development in the region. The Prime Minister will inaugurate the new Vaishali-Deora railway line project worth over 400 crore rupees and flag off a new train service on this route. Additionally, PM Modi will also flag off the Vande Bharat Express between Patliputra and Gorakhpur via Muzaffarpur and Betia to improve connectivity in North Bihar. Furthering the vision of Make in India, Make for the World, Prime Minister will also flag off the first state-of-the-art locomotive built at Marhaura plant for export to the Republic of Guinea. As part of conservation and rejuvenation plan of River Ganga, Prime Minister will inaugurate 6 sewage treatment plants under the Namami Gange project worth over 1,800 crore rupees, catering to the needs of the people in the region. Also, in a major boost to power infrastructure in the region, PM Modi will lay the foundation stone for a 500 megawatt battery energy storage system BESS capacity in Bihar. Later, Prime Minister will visit Bhubaneswar in Odisha and chair a function marking the completion of 1 year of the BJP government in Odisha in the evening.
On June 20, this visit marks not only the first anniversary of BJP government in Odisha, but also his first trip to the state after the success of Operation Sindoor.
For Odisha's holistic development, the Prime Minister will also inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects worth over 18,600 crore rupees. These projects will cover critical sectors including drinking water, irrigation, agricultural infrastructure, health infrastructure, rural roads and bridges, sections of national highways, and a new railway line. The train service extending rail connectivity to both districts for the first time will be inaugurated by the Prime Minister. In a major boost to clean energy and sustainable transportation, PM Modi will flag off 100 electric buses under the Capital Region Urban Transport System, supporting a modern, eco-friendly urban mobility network. With inputs from Dheeraj Kumar in Patna and Somesh Patel in Bhubaneswar, Bureau Report, DD India.
Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal, who is on a visit to the United Kingdom, held a productive meeting with Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves. Both the leaders discussed avenues for collaboration in financial frameworks, sustainable finance and unlocking new trade opportunities to further strengthen the India-UK economic partnership. The minister had an engaging discussion with Oliver Prill, the Chief Executive Officer of Tide, a business financial platform based in the United Kingdom. With India's massive strides in the digital world, both of them discussed the fintech ecosystem, digital empowerment and fostering SME-led growth across both the economies. Earlier, Union Minister Piyush Goyal delivered the keynote address at the IGF main stage plenary session titled From Agreement to Action, the UK-India FTA. The Union Minister reaffirmed India's commitment to transitioning the FTA from a negotiated text into a transformative economic partnership. Well, from digital payments to quantum leaps, India's tech journey over the past decade has redefined scale, speed and self-reliance. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, Bharat 2.0 is not just transforming lives, but it is also shaping the future. DD India's Taposh Bhattacharya spoke to Professor Abhay Karandikar, the Secretary of Department of Science and Technology, in an exclusive conversation. Here's a look at a decade of India's technological renaissance.
Joining me is Professor Karandikar, the DST Secretary, to talk about the 11 years of the government and how it changed the whole gamut of science, scientific research in the country. Sir, welcome to Doordarshan. The whole world wants the information from India. So Make in India has become the make for the world, isn't it?
Yes, yes. I think last 11 years have seen a very transformative changes on the entire R&D ecosystem. Not only now, we are developing indigenous technology. As you know, that digital public infrastructure UPI has been the biggest example, but there are many examples. COVID vaccine was another example. Then Chandrayaan moon landing is one more example. So there have been many examples which have shown the world that we have the talent and the potential to develop technologies not only for our country but globally competitive and to solve the global challenges.
The world is now looking up to India, especially when it comes to quantum mission, that India is expected to be a game changer and lead player in that.
Yes. So I think in quantum mission, we are working with our academic institutions and startups to develop cutting edge technologies in all 4 verticals: quantum computing, quantum communication, quantum sensing and quantum devices. Now in all the 4 technology verticals, we have formed technology hubs, but we have actually, these technology hubs are working in a consortia mode. There are 4 hubs, but then there are 14 technical groups and more than 153 faculty, researchers and scientists are working together to develop the cutting edge technologies, and we have provided them funding and we have provided them all the support that is needed.
There was a time when we hardly used to have 10, 20 startups. Now that number have grown exponentially. Now we in fact have more than 100 unicorns in our country. That culture, believe that has a lot to do with the way Prime Minister Narendra Modi has pushed from the very first tenure about Startup India, Stand Up India, and the way the whole country has actually gone ahead.
Yes. So I think when Honorable Prime Minister gave the clarion call of Startup India in 2015-16, since then an entire ecosystem of the startup has developed today. We are now the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world. We have more than 1,60,000 startups, and these are not just startups in consumer services and all. There are cutting edge startups. For example, in the space, we did not have any startup few years back. We today have more than 250 startups who are working in cutting edge area like rocket launching, satellite.
Much appreciate your time. So that was the DST Secretary giving us a roadmap of how India can become Viksit Bharat by 2047. That's the vision that Prime Minister has given to the whole country. There's a clarion call to become a developed nation by then.
The 8th edition of biennial Indo-French joint military exercise Shakti commenced at Camp Larzac in France. The Indian Army contingent, comprising 90 personnel, is primarily represented by a battalion of Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, along with personnel from other arms and services. The French contingent, also comprising 90 personnel, is represented by the 30th Foreign Legion Half Brigade. Exercise Shakti is a bilateral training engagement between the Indian and French armies aimed at enhancing interoperability, operational coordination and mutual understanding. The 2025 edition focuses on joint operations in a sub-conventional environment under the Chapter 7 of United Nations Charter, with training conducted in semi-urban terrains. Now let's get you weather updates. The Indian Meteorological Department issued a yellow alert for the National Capital Region, forecasting wet spells until the 23rd of June. The weather agency further warned against light to moderate rainfall over northeast India in the coming days. Downpours will be accompanied with thunderstorms and lightning. IMD also predicted heavy showers in Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh and East Rajasthan until the 25th of June. In Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, heavy rainfall is likely on the 22nd and the 25th of June. As Tamil Nadu and coastal Andhra Pradesh witness hot and humid conditions, the weather agency predicted light to moderate rainfall in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana until the 23rd of June. Weather Bulletin notes that isolated heavy rainfall is likely in Goa, Maharashtra and Gujarat until the 25th of June, while a yellow alert remains in place for Mumbai, urging the residents to stay cautious amid risk of localized flooding. Now, Hurricane Erick weakened to a tropical storm after making a landfall as a major hurricane on Mexico's southern Pacific coast on Thursday, leaving a trail of damages in the southern state of Guerrero. Hurricane Erick made landfall early on Thursday morning as a Category 3 near Puerto Oaxaca, but weakened to a tropical storm by mid-afternoon with 50 meters per hour wind. Hurricane Erick left behind destroyed buildings and debris in Guerrero. The head of Mexico's Civil Protection Agency said no immediate deaths were reported. Officials cautioned that Erick's intense rain remained dangerous. The U.S. National Hurricane Center warned of life-threatening flooding and mudslides. Meanwhile, Hurricane Erick caused widespread destruction in southern Mexico, uprooting trees and damaging the homes. In the San Jose del Progreso, plantations of palm trees and banana were damaged, with many trees seen uprooted or blown away. In the town of Juhitan, a river overflowed and flooded streets and displaced hundreds of families. Heavy rains plunged the southernmost Brazilian state of Rio Grande do Sul into flood waters this week, bringing back memories of the 2024 fatal floods. The state's civil defense issued a red alert for swelling risk at the Tequeri River until Friday. Rio Grande do Sul's government informed that most of the northern and central parts of the state were in red and on orange alert after the rainy weather started on the 16th of June. In the city, the river rose to 22.63 meters, surpassing the 19-meter flood stage. Families near flooded areas were moved to shelters, and authorities warned that moderate to strong rain could bring up to 80 mm of rainfall daily. In 2024, intense rainfall in Rio Grande do Sul triggered floods that claimed the lives of at least 180 people. A heat wave sweeping through France sent the temperatures in Paris soaring to 31 degrees Celsius on Thursday, driving the tourists to seek refuge in fountains and shaded areas. Sightseers near the city's iconic landmarks wore hats and sunglasses, doing their best to stay cool in the intense early summer heat. Meteo France, the national weather agency, has issued a heat wave alert for Friday, with western regions expected to be hit the hardest. Officials are advising that both the residents and the visitors to stay well hydrated and limit sun exposure during the hottest part of the day. London faced a scorching Thursday as temperatures soared past 30 degrees Celsius, marking the hottest day of 2025 so far, which is nearly 10 degrees above the normal temperature. The morning started calm, with the River Thames reflecting the sky like glass, but by midday, the heat intensified, reaching a high of 32 degrees Celsius, the Met Office reported. Forecasters expect the heat wave to continue through Saturday, with cooler weather returning early next week. Crowds flocked to Brighton on Thursday as rising temperatures prompted an amber heat alert from health officials. The UK Health Security Agency and the Met Office issued the warning, signalling potential warning and health risk for the broader population. Particularly vulnerable are people over 65 and those with existing medical conditions. And the agency further cautioned, temperatures are forecast to climb steadily across the UK through the end of the week. And now let's get you all the latest from the world of sports, to begin with cricket first. India is all set to face England in Leeds in the first of the 5-match test series that begins from today onwards. Going ahead in the match, India would like to continue their dominance over England for the longest format of the game, having not lost a series against them since 2021. As far as England is concerned, the Ben Stokes-led side would hope to reclaim the India vs England series trophy, which has eluded them for a few years. Historically, England and India have played 135 tests, with England winning 51, India 35 and 50 ending in draw. And with both the teams brimming with confidence, an exciting match is expected in Leeds. England captain Ben Stokes on Thursday acknowledged the absence of Indian stalwarts Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and Ravichandran Ashwin from the upcoming 5-match test series, but cautioned against underestimating the new-look Indian team. Speaking on the eve of the series opener at Headingley, Stokes said their replacements are no less threatening.
Yeah, so obviously there's been a lot of said about no Rohit, no Virat and no Ashwin. That doesn't mean that we think it's going to be any easier than what it ever is against India. The pool of talent that Indian cricket has is just ginormous. So although Virat, Rohit and Ashwin have done amazing things for their country on the field, that doesn't mean that whoever comes in to replace, those individuals are going to be any less.
Moving on, yoga is about plugging into an uninterrupted source of power. India's Ministry of Ayush aims to integrate yoga into daily governance and office routines. Thus, it has urged the yoga leaders to organize Yoga Sangam on the 21st of June and make sure the event is part of the global celebration by registering it on the yoga portal. And let's now take you to Visakhapatnam, where the stage is all set for a grand celebration of International Yoga Day. With the theme called Yoga for One Earth, One Health, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister will join thousands in a display of unity, wellness and India's timeless gift to the world. DD India's Siddharth Bharadwaj has more. Take a look.
Yoga for One Earth, One Health. This is a theme of International Day of Yoga 2025. And I'm here in Visakhapatnam. Behind me, you can see the stage where Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with Chief Minister of the state N. Chandrababu Naidu, will lead over 5 lakh people in performing the common yoga protocol. This is the street which will be filled up with the people. This is almost 10-kilometer stretch which will be filled up with the people who will be performing yoga tomorrow on 21st of June, which is known as the International Day of Yoga. Well, June 21st has its own significance as to why this particular day was chosen on June 21st, because it is summer solstice, the biggest day in the northern hemisphere, and when it comes to the cultures, it holds a great significance in different parts of the world. The security protocol here is pretty tight. different teams of police personnel along with other teams have been deployed to make sure that everything goes in a smooth line manner. It was in the year 2014 when the United Nations proclaimed this day as the International Day of Yoga, and this is the 11th International Day of Yoga. People, especially youngsters, are saying that they have already inculcated yoga in their everyday lives, and in fact they're inspiring their friends, families and relatives to take yoga in their everyday life. And people are very, very exciting for tomorrow, and it's not just a one-day observance. This is something which inspires millions out there to take yoga, to practice yoga in their everyday lives. It is affordable, it is cheap. One thing which requires is the consistency. With camera person Gaurav Giri, this is Siddharth Bhardwaj reporting for TD India in Visakhapatnam.
A full message of harmony, sustainability and shared well-being. Key takeaways from International Yoga Day is that the 21st of June marks the 11 years of International Day of Yoga this year, and the theme for this year is Yoga for One Earth, One Health. IGY also reminds us that caring for our planet is caring for our health. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will spearhead the nation in a grand yoga session from Visakhapatnam. International Day of Yoga will be observed with a synchronized yoga session based on the common yoga protocol, a structured 45-minute routine. Now, over 100 nations will be coming together to celebrate wellness as one in CYD. Over 1 lakh plus locations across India will come together to host synchronized sessions. Prime Minister Yoga Awards are also set to honor individuals and organizations making a real difference through yoga. And if we take a look at the international impact, now since the year 2014, June the 21st has been the world's official day to celebrate yoga across the globe. From millions to over 24 crore participants, the global yoga movement keeps growing. While India has become a global wellness ambassador through yoga, and not only this, even the pandemic couldn't pause world's commitment to yoga. Now more people now see yoga as a path to staying healthy. Not only this, yoga is reaching people of all the ages, backgrounds and health conditions. And youth especially are embracing yoga like never before. And if we talk about the signature events for this edition, IDY comes with 10 signature events. Each signature event is designed to spotlight yoga's impact across different sections of the society. Now, Yoga Sangam will bring millions together for one massive morning of yoga, and Yoga Bandhan is also building bridges through international yoga exchanges. Harit Yoga is blending yoga with actions that heal the planet. Yoga Samavesh is creating space for those with unique health needs. Yoga Unplugged is turning yoga into a movement young people can relate with. Yoga Mahakumbh is making yoga feel like a joyful citywide festival, and Yoga Connect is bringing global experts together to share and grow the practice. Well, Yoga Connect is uniting global voices to shape the future of yoga as well. And apart from that, some yoga is bridging yoga with modern and traditional medicine, and Yoga Park is turning public parks into an everyday yoga zone. And as the 21st of June approaches, the message is loud and clear: one earth, one health and one consciousness. The Ministry of Culture will mark the 11th International Day of Yoga by organizing yoga sessions at 100 tourist-based iconic destinations and 50 more cultural sites across the country. Some of the iconic locations hosting the Yoga Day celebrations include UNESCO World Heritage sites such as Rani Ki Vav and Dholavira in Gujarat, Hampi and Pattadakal in Karnataka, Khajuraho Group of Monuments and Sanchi Stupa in Madhya Pradesh, and Sun Temple at Konark, along with others. Aligned with the global theme of fostering health, harmony and holistic well-being, multiple yoga events have been organized by the Indian Army as well. At the Defence Services Academy, Myanmar, 45 Burmese officers from diversified age groups took part in the session. While in Kazakhstan, the Indian Army training introduced yoga to the Kazakh Armed Forces, emphasizing its effectiveness in mitigating stress and lifestyle-related health challenges while promoting overall well-being. On Uzbekistan's Tashkent, the Lal Bahadur Shastri Center for Indian Culture is spearheading this mega event that brings together a wide spectrum of participants. The Indian Army's global participation in International Day of Yoga reaffirms its commitment to promoting a culture of wellness, mindfulness and shared global values. As a run-up to International Yoga Day, Indian Mission in Nepal has organized yoga session on Fewa Lakeside in Pokhara. Hundreds of yoga enthusiasts participated in yoga session with the theme of Yoga for One Earth, One Health. All run-ups organized to generate awareness regarding benefits of yogic practices. The Indian Embassy in Washington, D.C. hosted a vibrant yoga session at the Lincoln Memorial on Thursday ahead of the International Yoga Day. The event witnessed enthusiastic participation from numerous attendees, including members of the Indian diaspora and local residents. India's ambassador to the US, Vinay Mohan Quatra, described the session as a joyful and grand tribute to India's ancient civilizational heritage.
We are all here to celebrate the 11th International Day of Yoga. Enormous, great, fun-filled celebration of India's ancient civilizational heritage in the form of yoga. A large number of extended Indian family in terms of Indian community, Indian diaspora present with us here this afternoon, along with the other citizens of the US. It's a wonderful day, wonderful experience for us. I would like to thank everybody for being here with us this morning in celebration of this heritage from India.
And as we wrap up this bulletin, let's take a look at the vibrant celebration of Corpus Christi in northern Venezuela. On Thursday, the streets came alive as dancing devils took to the stage, thanking God for the triumph of good over evil in this deeply rooted tradition. Dressed in colorful costumes, performers paraded through the town in a joyful display of artistry, shaking handcrafted cardboard masks and ringing bells to symbolically drive away evil spirits. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.